How out of touch do you have to be with your player base before you realize you're making catastrophic mistakes? Because the player base of Dungeons and Dragons, just like the community of Magic the Gathering, stuck together, and now Wizards has put their foot in it again. Whenever you rush anything, you're bound to make a lot of mistakes. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on the channel today. Now, I'm going to be honest, everyone. For my knowledge base for Dungeons and Dragons, I grew up in the 70s and I played in the 70s and 80s, early 90s, all the way up to 2nd edition. So most of my knowledge is going to be in the past. But as an avid dungeon maker, as a person who created elaborate stories for the players I played with in my play group, there was a solid 8 of us for about 10 years, and we had on and off players who joined all the time. The adventuring that you would go on, the ability that the books gave you to create and extend your story experience is something phenomenal. Now, back then it was TSR, and I remember when Wizards of the Coast actually obtained, like Wizards are the ones who bought Dungeons and Dragons, right? And then later on, Hasbro acquired Wizards of the Coast, which means they got the licenses for Dungeons and Dragons. And I never in a million years would have expected how far the game has come. How much time, dedication, and effort players put into this game. The adventuring sections, the characters, the themes, the storylines, the amazing models they've come up with. I mean, I grew up in a time where the figures were lead pewter. They were made by companies like Citadel, Ral Partha. There was a few, different companies that made them back then. But nowadays, with the plastics they can use to make these elaborate miniatures, it's crazy. The paint jobs I've seen over the years, amazing, breathtaking pieces. And I will seem like a fossil to most of the players out there, because I grew up in a time where we played with Thaco to hit armor class 0. And I never went beyond 2nd edition because I owned every book. I literally saved and worked my fingers till they bled to get my Dungeon Master's Guide, my, I guess it was Dragonlance, Maztica, Dark Sun, everything I could get, Forgotten Realms, Greyhawk, anything I could get my hands on. Spelljammer. Every monstrous compendium that came out from Al-Qadim all the way through, I grabbed everything, because I love the game that much. I still have every single miniature that I have ever bought. I still own them. I never got rid of them. From those giant dragons you get, they had to put together. And then I got emails, messages, asking what I knew about this and the open source code, the license changes that Wizards was trying. This company is run by a bunch of morons. They have these amazing licenses and games, and they have no idea how to run the actual systems they're within. They don't know how to run Magic the Gathering, and as far as I'm concerned, they don't know how to run D&D. The idea of monetizing and making money for these companies is a fine idea. If we didn't have their R&D and development, we wouldn't have these amazing games we know today in the way we have them. But I remember buying, I think, a Player's Handbook 2nd edition was like $34 back then. I still have it. I should look. I don't have it with me, but I think it was $34.99 Canadian. And that was a lot of money, guys. That was like 3 or 4 days of working at McDonald's to save up enough money just to buy that one book. It was crazy. But you wanted it. You wanted to have that. The Dungeon Master's Guide, the screens, the dice. You had to have all the stuff. You wanted to have it. And they were making money off us for all those. TSR was making money. Now, I realize it wasn't as popular back then as it is now, with Stranger Things and stuff brought this stuff to the forefront. It was such a kick to see them playing the game like I grew up with. That you're like, hey, that's awesome. Throw a fireball, man. Disintegration, Wars Lord Soft. Give me a Kender. Let's get things going. Loved it. And then, of course, I know the newer systems, of course, have half dragons and all that crazy stuff, but I never went that far. My game knowledge does not extend that way. Any of the new fighting techniques and formats they go through, I got none of that, guys. But I know I love the game. I kept everything I've owned, and I've never thrown it out. No matter how ratty and beat up it is, every adventure I took with my friends, I still have the original paperwork. Every campaign. for all those years, I have them because it meant that much to me. And to know a company that owns the rights and could do amazing things. Like you look at this background image here, and you're going to see the original Dragon movie, Dungeons & Dragons, like 2000. I can't tell you how insulted I was when I saw the Beholder come out in that movie scene and acts like a guard dog. This hyper-intelligent creature. This is where companies fail to meet with fan expectations. Now, to get in a serious side of things, as much as I love the game, I understand that company has to make money. And they're looking for ways to monetize. But they're going about it all wrong. Trying to claim the work of other people who build it and letting us use it, because I've never done it, but letting me use an open source code I heard, right? And I read the videos and I watched some of the stuff, I've read some of the articles. When you go through that open source code and you create some amazing adventure and all the dungeons, the layers, and it's available for other people to dive into, that's amazing. Like the idea of that just blows my mind. There's some kind of major formatting that you can just go find the adventures you want to take your friends on and use somebody else's stuff, pay them a nominal fee. And now Wizards wants a cut of that. They want money for you taking your time and effort. And they're not going to pay you royalties. And I know now by the time you guys will watch this video, they had to put a halt to everything. All the fan backlash has made them stop everything. They're going to take away the royalty structure and they're going to they've got everything on hold till they fix it. And they should. Because instead of diving in and trying to get greedy, which is what this company seems to do right now, that's how you just know they're doing everything wrong. They should have been taking baby steps. Baby steps. Get people accustomed to things before you just ram it down their throat. And they didn't do it. And now they're paying the price. Having a $1 a year subscription fee. Something small that everyone can kind of get used to. I'm not saying you guys would agree to it out there. I'm saying that's what companies should do when they want to get you a taste of things. I remember when Interact first became a thing. When you had banking cards. There was no banking fees. You just put that card in and use it. The banking fees came later. When the banks wanted to churn profit out of it. And they started really, really low. Like $2 a month. $1 a month. $1 for every 20 transactions. Stuff like that. Same as internet used to not have bandwidth limits on how much you could use in a month. Right? You just use it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can only use 5 gigs a month, 10 gigs a month, 20 gigs a month. You want unlimited, you pay this much. Wizards, Hasbro should have done something similar. It's like $1 a year to use all this stuff, to use all these open source code stuff. There was ways of going about generating income in a very nominal, small way. And then as they add better content, better tools, better equipment for players to use, for players to purchase, they start adding little bits to that. 50 cents here, $1 here. Microtransactions, I guess you'd call it, right? Little things that people won't really recognize as being a big thing, but they will generate revenue. It's another revenue source. Although it's small, you are building it. Because you don't want players to think you're just grabbing all the cash you can and giving them junk, which is what you're trying to do. Which is what they tried to do. And they failed. And that's why I love it. Just like an adventuring party, they slayed the mighty dragon. The ancient red dragon of Wizards of the Coast was slain by an adventuring party of players who actually did all the work, built all the campaigns, and made the game live. Right? They made it live. They bought your books, they bought your campaigns, they bought your monstrous manuals. You're making your cut. Trying to take the cut that other players and off of the backs of other players who build their stuff seems ridiculous to me. Now, I'm sure there's a lot more conversation and information going on about this, but me as a player and understanding I built those campaigns over months and months on graph paper, shading things and building the dungeon entrances and where there were traps and where there might be a mimic hiding, right? Where the Grand Master Beholder could be, where the Arch Lich was like hiding in the dungeon, trying to bring back his dead bride, all that kind of stuff. And to have a company say you owe them money for it, when you've done all the work, seems ridiculous. If anything, they should take your work and pay you for it, because you put all the effort in. But they're not going to do that, or they're not going to pay you and then say they own it. That's not the way they do things, obviously. So I just wanted to say, good for you, all you fans of Dungeons and Dragons. Thanks for making an old-timer like me feel that much more awesome about the game I played, about all the friends I played with, that you guys all stuck together and shoved it down their throat. That's awesome. Thanks again, and keep up the good work out there, guys. If anyone can point me in the good direction of some D&D stuff, you let me know. You put that in the comments section. I would love to maybe get back into this. Hey, a big shout out and thank you to all the fantastic patrons I have on my channel, supporting the efforts of the channel, helping this stuff grow. If you're new to the channel, you hit that subscribe button, join in the fun. Don't forget to turn on your notification. You'll never miss a video. Welcome back. Thanks for being here at the end. Yeah, I'm still MTG Moxman. I know, got the hair slicked up, chilling out in the basement here with the backdrop. They got the movie coming up with Chris Pine. It's going to be a good flick. I think it's going to be fun, silly. I wish they'd taken a more serious tone with Dungeons & Dragons. I really wish they would. Just like the movie in 2000. I saw that in the theater a couple times. I think it was Thora Birch and stuff with some no-name actors. I guess Jeremy Irons wasn't a no-name actor, but he was a horrible, horrible villain for this movie. And the animation was bad. I look now. This is a good time to do a movie. But is it the right time for them to try to capitalize on it? No. Wizards, morons. Like, I don't know what they're thinking, but they're not thinking straight. And whoever's giving them advice, it's horrible. It's just horrible. Let's hope they smarten up, guys. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. It's like almost like they're trying to throw the spotlight off of Magic the Gathering by doing something horrible with D&D, right? Just to turn the spotlight off of Magic for a while. Because they obviously have no idea what they're doing. One bad mistake after another. Chris Cox, you're going to lose your job. Cynthia Williams, why do you even still have a job? I don't know. Horrible, guys, but thanks for hanging out. Yeah, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll conversate. We'll go again tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Let's put Dungeons... Oh, you know what? No. Let's put Lord Soth. Because I love that character. Lord Soth in the comment section. All right. Later, guys.